today's topic, which Rama ma'am would be taking, is about anger management, which is very important not only for children. केवल बच्चों के लिए जरूरी नहीं है anger management, बड़ों के लिए भी जरूरी है, right? Mostly what happens, we connect with our family members, and most of the anger is going for our family members. ज्यादातर हम किस पे सबसे ज्यादा गुस्सा होते हैं? उन लोगों पे जो हमारी सबसे ज्यादा मदद करते हैं, हमारी फैमिली मेंबर्स जो हमारे साथ कनेक्टेड रहते हैं, हमारे लिए इतना कुछ करते हैं. ऑल अवर एंगर गोज इन देम, है ना? हम केवल उन पे ज्यादा गुस्सा होते हैं, बाहर वालों से तो प्यार से बात करते हैं, राइट? सो एंगर मैनेजमेंट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू रिमेन हैप्पी. इट विल एंश्योर हैप्पीनेस नॉट ओनली फॉर यू बट ऑल्सो फॉर ऑल योर फैमिली मेंबर्स, विच इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अ पीसफुल फैमिली, हार्मोनियस फैमिली. जरूरी है ना? तो रमा मैम इज एन IB लीडर एंड वी आर privileged to have her here. Many of you know her. Vishwa Shanti Gurukul, a school which is very renowned across India. It is her baby. And now she keeps auditing many schools and then ensure quality, how to ensure quality in different schools. Schools should not only work in the field of education but in many more areas. So that's what Rama ma'am ensures. And Rama ma'am, we are always grateful for your help and support for the parents community. And believe me, Rama ma'am keeps traveling, keeps going here and there, but for our program she always takes out time even after being so busy. And whenever I think about her, my heart melts. How can someone be so noble, you know? So Rama ma'am, I will not take much of your time. Over to you. Please share about our topic today, anger management.
Thank you so much, Surbhi ma'am. It's always pleasure to be here and talking to the parents as well as giving them certain practical tips, okay, which are very, very important for the development of the kids. And in today's world, it is very much required because parents are busy, right? And we need to guide them so that, these practical tips will help them. So you rightly said, like, turn anger to calm helping child and that manage his or her emotions. So basically when we say that turn anger to calm down, okay, so anger is a emotion, okay, and if you really look at it, if I ask you, okay, you can write it in the chat box, like, anger is a natural emotion. How many of you agree anger is a natural emotion?
So write it natural in the chat box if you feel that natural. Natural लिख दीजिए chat box में अगर आपको लगता है कि anger natural emotion है. All of us agree.
Yeah, they are agreeing to it. So it's basically natural emotion, and which is very, very important to be understood well. Okay, I won't say that there should be no anger, because anger is required. But what kind of anger? What kind of anger is required, and how to manage the anger is something which is very, very important. So in today's world, basically, all the children, if you really look at it, they have some or the other. This is basically an emotion, and which is like, when we begin the journey of the children in the school, we teach them different through emojis, different feelings. Okay, so we show them the emojis. You all are aware about the emojis: angry, sad, happy, and angry. These are the 4 feelings which children are taught, so that the child can pick up the card and speak about it, that I'm really very angry, I'm really very happy. So these emotions has to be nurtured well. That is very important. Second thing is that this requires a thorough exercise. I must say that thorough exercise, in the sense, it happens in the school, because in the schools they have life skills, in that they have a story, so where automatically the children start understanding the feelings, expression, being kind, etc. So now basically today's our topic and our takeaways is very, very important. So I would like to stick to the takeaways. So my first takeaway is identifying triggers and early sign of anger. So basically, the children have, you must have seen, like, 2 years old also has an anger. I had seen the children shouting, expressing their frustration. But one very important thing, all of you as a parents has to understand that anger cannot be dealt with anger. This is basically when you are managing the children. So basically the children's anger is like a summer storm, okay? It is intense but short-lived, okay? It lives for a short time, but with a bit of humor and lot of understanding, you can wither it and see the sunshine again. So you need to know the technique. If the child is crying, yelling, showing tantrums, throwing the kind of a toys, then in that case, rather than shouting at the child, you need to first calm down and try to ensure that attention divertness has to be developed. This has to be dealt when the child is 2 years old. The reason is that that is the foundation age where the habits, the feelings gets, consolidated. So you need to very, very meticulously have to observe this, that the anger cannot be dealt with anger. I had seen, Surbhi ma'am, many parents, okay, what they do, if the child is, yeah, angry, even in the malls I have seen the child says that I want this toys and all that, rather than, the child parent start, shouting, yelling at the child, and the child becomes more, angry. So rather than that, you should take the child, attention divertness has to be developed. So that is one very important tip which I would like to give it to everybody.
गुस्से को गुस्से से नहीं जीता जा सकता. That's what our point is. कि अगर बच्चा गुस्सा है तो आप गुस्सा मत हो जाइए. You take a pause, आप आराम से उसको शांतता से लीजिए, और डिफरेंट टेक्निक्स हैं जिनको आप यूज कीजिए. क्योंकि अगर बच्चा, मैम ने बोला कि अगर बच्चा मॉल में फैल गया, गुस्सा हो गया, कभी कभी लेट भी जाते हैं, टॉयज चाहिए, ये चाहिए, वो चाहिए, आप मत गुस्सा हो जाइए.
That is very, very important.
हाँ, तो गुस्से को गुस्से से नहीं जीता जा सकता, गुस्से को दूसरी टेक्निक से जीतना है.
और आज हम आपको टेक्निक ही बताने वाले हैं. जैसे लोहा लोहे को काटता है, राइट सुरभि मैम, वी से दैट लोहा लोहे को काटता है, बट यहाँ पे एंगर को काट नहीं सकता है. So it is very, very important that all parents who are attending has to first, tie a knot for them that anger cannot be dealt with anger. This is something which is very, very important. Second thing is that, Survi ma'am, when we are saying that, imagine that a 6 years old is there and he is showing the tantrums which are uncontrollable. Okay, you are, you have to control this. So for that reason, right from the beginning, you have to model your behavior. It cannot be all of a sudden. Okay, so I request all the parents to learn to be calm and composed, because this is something which is very, very important, where parenting is an art. Okay, and in this art, we need to ensure that first you need to model it. You need to have a patience, because a child, 2 years old child, okay, what does he has, in that child, self-identity comes. When the child completes 2 years of age, he starts talking, he has his own thoughts, then he expresses his own interest also, and he is picking up the words from, surroundings. So it's very, very important that as a parents, you need to learn to be calm and composed. Okay, we have in Brighter Minds relaxation technique, we do have a meditation, which is really very important as an adult to practice this, because you must have not done it earlier, Surbhi ma'am, but then the people need to begin that, because that can bring down your calmness. Okay, you can, you can remain calm and composed. Second thing is that, do you all know punching bag? How many of you know punching bag?
Yes, punching bag देखा है क्या आपने? चैट बॉक्स में डाली सीन. Punching bag मतलब जिसपे ठक 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 करके मारते हैं ना, we kick that. तो वो आपने देखा है क्या?
Yeah.
Please write down punching bag or PB if you have seen it.
Seen that. So basically, this punching bag, ma'am, is very, very important to have it at home. Okay, even if you don't have a punching bag, you can have that load. Okay, which is there in this at home, and let the child, punch on it. So this, like, in schools also we do have in a special educators room the punching bags, because that anger, aggression comes out in actions. Okay, so anger is feeling, okay, and aggression is action. So we all have to understand that every time anger cannot lead to aggression. So we need to ensure to balance it. And how we are going to do that? So first is that having a punching bag at home, give some time. Don't tell the child, because child doesn't understand. Remember one thing, at 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years old, apart from showing that emoji, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm happy, The child doesn't understand what's happening with him. Do you all agree with me, Surbi ma'am? The child does not understand what's happening with him. So anger does not allow to think. Remember one thing, when the child gets angry, the child keeps shouting and yelling, hut, okay? I don't want to listen to you. I want this now only. So the children show a lot of tantrums, but that time their thinking gets switched off. So remember one thing, anybody, even as an adult, if you are angry, you have to learn to take a time. Daji keeps saying that if you're angry, you need to wait for some time. You have to seclude yourself from the audience or from that person and be away for some time to calm down, to think about it. I had a colleague, ma'am, and who is to like being a school, we used to have a stressful days sometimes because dealing with the children is not that easy. So he used to get angry and he used to tell me that, Rama ma'am, I'm feeling very angry. Today I'm not going to meet any one of them. And he used to close the door of his office. The reason was he wanted to, assimilate. He wanted to think how to resolve this issue because the children have a lot of various ways of behavior. Even as an adolescence age group, sometimes the children have relationships, sometimes, they have lying habits, sometimes they have, so as a parent, you have to go through various milestones. But then for that, you need to understand if you're getting angry, you have to calm down. So you have to seclude yourself, you have to be away from the situation, give a deep thought how to handle the child, and then come up with the solution. There is a calming jar. Okay, now calming jar is something which is a normal jar, okay, one bottle, where you can add little glue, water, okay, warm water in that, and then you can add glitters in it. Okay, if you really Google it, calming jar recipe, it is do by yourself kind of a this thing. So you can really make a calming jar at home, which is very important, because when the children are watching that, how the particles in that settles down, the mind gets calmer. So the child sits in one place. As Survi ma'am, you said, the calmness is very important. The concentration is very important. Managing, your own emotions is very important. So this jar is very important. In schools also, we do keep this in the counselor's room, calming jar, and you won't believe, you will be surprised. Some of the children, those who are very angry, they know that we get angry, we fight and all that, they immediately rush to the counselor's room and they say to the counselor that I want to take calming jar. So you need to have that kind of an study, and this is very simple to do it. Is that clear? आप घर में भी बना सकते हो सुरभि मैम ये calming jar, जिसमें आप सिर्फ ग्लिटर पेपर डाल सकते हो, छोटा छोटा पीसेस, और चमचम डाल सकते हो, थोड़ा सा ग्लू डाल सकते हो, वार्म वाटर, एंड देन द बॉटल हैज टू बी सील्ड. सो व्हेन यू शेक द बॉटल, उसके बाद ये सारे ग्लिटर्स settle down होते हैं, and that helps the child to calm down. We want the anger to be there, because remember one thing, sometimes the anger is essential. You cannot have a children without anger. It's a normal emotion, so it's absolutely fine. But how you deal with it, how you make sure that you take efforts for the child to regulate his anger is very important. Second thing is that, understanding the anger in the children. So basically, anger is, as I said, it's a natural emotion, and it is for every child. So, you may find it in the school. Some of the children are very calm and composed. So I always look at it, Subhi ma'am, it's like, genetic, okay? It is like, the parents who are calm and composed, their children are calm and composed. The parents who are very fidgety, angry, lesser of a patience, so they need to work on them first to change the child's mindset. And it's very easy if you start doing it, if you consciously, because adult can deal with everything. Adult can deal with the emotions very nicely, whereas the children cannot. Children have limitations, children have certain kind of understanding, but they don't understand when they get angry. So this is something which, as a parent, you need to deal with it. Second thing is that identifying the cause of anger. Like now, sometimes the children are hungry. If you keep the child hungry, the child is not able to express, but that fire in the stomach makes you angry. I had seen in the school that. So first my question is to be, is your child eating something before coming to the school? Because in the stomach something has to go to calm down. So stomach of the children has to be full. So this is something which is, I'm not saying full, but something or the other has to go into the stomach before sending them to the child to the school. Only milk is not sufficient to be given it to the child in the morning, which we had earlier also spoken about it. And so you need to ensure that the child needs to be fed well. So if your child is getting angry, that means that he is not fed well. His eating habits have not been developed. Somebody has to take a lot of efforts to develop those eating habits. Nowadays, the children are watching this all, ma'am, fast food, correct? But then at home, somebody makes it, talks about it, expresses this is what is the broccoli soup and I want to eat this, etc., etc. So the child will develop the interest. So how you will develop that interest while eating is also very, very important. So this was my third tip as such for the parents. Now another thing is that effective communication techniques. So now as a parents, you have to understand that you have to be effective communicator to your child. You have to be very, very cautious when you are talking to the child. I had seen in front of the children, they say, oh, he gets angry very fast, he is all the time angry, he fights. When he goes in the society, he fights. Why do you say that in front of the child? So that is not a pride, that is not something which you want to develop. So you can secretly talk about it with the counselor, or you can talk about it what can be done if the child is fighting. The child is, so as I said, like calming down jar, then punching bag. These all things are very, very important to be given it to the child. And you introspect, how is the child's stomach full? 6 times a day the child should be fed. That is something which we have to remember, and this is till 10th standard you have to do. Then automatically the children start developing a good eating habit, and you will see that the children are much more calmer, much more composed also. So it is related to your eating habits also. Your communication has to be of a very, very larger aspect. As I said, don't talk negative. Okay, don't talk negative in front of your child. Let us have a positive environment. The way you speak, the children will pick up. The way you create the environment in the house, the children are going to develop in that fashion, that mode. And I had seen a very good successful parenting who has showcased this kind of a behavior. So it is easily possible. Nothing is impossible, but for that you need to introspect. और सुबी मैम, खुद को एनालाइज करना हर एक पेरेंट को बहुत जरूरी है कि मेरा बच्चा कब एंग्री होता है, कब उसको गुस्सा बहुत ज्यादा आता है, व्हाट इज द टाइम व्हेन ही गेट्स एंग्री. इफ यू सी दैट यू विल फाइंड अ कॉमन पैटर्न. Okay, when the children go for playing also, now so sports is something which regulates your anger, aggression, because there when you play, your energy is utilized. So the child needs to be kept busy, the child needs to be ensure that the child is engaged in the constructive work. So these are certain things which are very, very important. और हमारा जो
हम रूल याद रख सकते हैं मैम सब लोग इसके रिगार्डिंग, बिकॉज दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो आई वांट टू ऐड समथिंग हियर. Reward in public, and whatever you want to share concern or say negative about your child in private. किसी से भी अगर आपको उसके बारे में कुछ concern बताना है कि इसको गुस्सा बहुत आता है, मेरी बात है नहीं सुनता, doesn't listen to me, he gets very angry, share it in person and only share with people who can do something about it. केवल ऐसे पब्लिक में बोलते रहने से तो कुछ फायदा होने वाला नहीं. If you keep on telling public, what will happen? No, nothing. So concern in person and reward or appreciation in public. जब भी आप किसी और के सामने हो तो बच्चे को appreciate करो कि देखो ये अच्छी बातें हैं. These things are good in my child. Do you agree, Rama ma'am?
Absolutely correct, ma'am. Because the positive approach works wonders. Okay, because children are just picking up the words. Children are getting experience outside world, so they start valuing the parents a lot if you are having that kind of a positive approach when you're talking. आप सही बोल रहे हो सुबी मैम कि बच्चों को सबके सामने नहीं डांटना चाहिए और सबके सामने बच्चे का इंसल्ट भी नहीं करना चाहिए. छोटा बच्चा भी आजकल समझता है कि उसको बुरी तरह से बोला गया है. सो वी हैव टू बी वेरी, वेरी पर्टिकुलर. दूसरी बात है सुरभि मैम, जो मैं हमेशा बोलती हूँ कि practical tools and strategies to calm down. So again and again I repeat that calming jar, then having that kind of a punching bag is very important. And third and very important thing, as for entire family, this I had learned from Heartfulness itself. Like Surbhi ma'am, you can add on this, breathing through your left side nostril. It's very, very important, isn't it? Yes, Surbhi ma'am. So
Right.
it's like,
True.
yeah. So, breathing technique has to be followed at home for everybody. It will take hardly 5-10 minutes. I had seen many, many families who read a holy books together. You also must have seen, they practice that, they recite some shlokas and all that. Now you can start doing this, regulating the breathing technique. So you should tell your child, like, oxygen should go in, and we should be able to, inhale properly. So together, sit with the child and do it. The child will learn, and you can do that, Subhi ma'am. When the air comes out, make it children, experience that hot air is coming from which nostril now you are breathing. So all that has to be, slowly, gradually introduced. We in the school we do introduce it to the children, okay, but then this kind of a practice has to go to the, it has to go home also. So सांस किस तरह से लेना है, or because that will regulate your brain functioning also. Do you agree, Surbhi ma'am, with me?
Very true. This
Yeah.
left nostril breathing that you are sharing, ma'am, that actually when we breathe in deeply 10 times with our left nostril, close your right nostril, and then breathe in deeply with your left nostril and then breathe out gently. It works on your parasympathetic system, which is the system to calm us down. So if parents and also children, this is a heartfulness technique. If parents and children, they can do it together, it will really help entire family to calm down. You can get YouTube videos also. If you put heartfulness left nostril breathing, they have guided you to do it. You can do it.
Very good, ma'am. So this is something which is the fourth tip which you have to do it. So it will take hardly, 5-10 minutes to start this practice at home regularly, like how you take lunch, dinner. I don't know how many of you have a dinner together, sitting together for the dinner for the child with the child. I do understand that, lunch, everybody cannot be together. But having a practice of having a dinner together is very, very important. Many families follow it, and the similar way before going to bed or in the morning. Morning hours are very rushy. So you can decide, you can figure it out which time of the day you want to practice this breathing techniques, and you should follow as a entire family, which will definitely, you can see the drastic change. बहुत फर्क पड़ेगा उससे. दूसरी बात है मैम, फ्री टॉकिंग विथ योर चाइल्ड. जैसे आप बच्चे के साथ बात करते हो तो द चाइल्ड शुड बी open communication. I mean to say, how are you feeling? Are you feeling okay? Are you feeling like, that kind of a talk has to be there, because children nowadays, last time also we had spoken, like boredom. Children get bored. Okay, that's fine. If you don't give any kind of a work to the child will get bored, but then he will find it out some or the other, toy or something to read, all those things. But then having a dialogue, so what you would like to do now, then suggest the child, can you do the drawing, can you do the painting, can we play chess, can you play Rubik cube? So all this, so free talking is very important. And believe me, this only, you can do it when the children are early age and the primary. Later on, when the children go to the middle school, they close themselves. They are so busy with the academics, they are so busy with their own thoughts. That time, that free talking is very, very limited. No doubt you have to monitor your child, but this is something, free talking is very, very important. And understanding the needs of the child. So as again and again I said, like, finding it out, like, what makes your child angry. Like I had seen, like, some of the parents give lot of sweet things to the children, ma'am. Lot of sweets the child eats. So because of that, lot of aggression is there. Okay, kind of actions are there. So you need to regulate the intake of sugar, which we had spoken in our one of the webinar. So you need to look at it, and the child should be given exposure of various tests. Okay, so we do give it sweet, sour, spicy, all that has to be, and you should talk about it to the child. Children will definitely take the interest. But if you say he doesn't eat, okay, in front of him, then he will also repeat that same sentence, I don't eat this, okay, or I don't like this, because you had made it that coined word that he doesn't like or she doesn't like this. So it is all what you speak, those words come back. So please be very mindful, okay, when you are talking, when you are handling the parents. Second thing is that any argument with the parents, see, we all are humans. It may have an argument between a husband and wife, argument between the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law, or anybody. But then you should avoid it in front of the children. Some of the children, get badly affected. They develop a fear, or they say that this is only the way to deal with it. So some of the people have that habit of, fighting with auto wala. Wherever they go, they pull out something or the other and they have to speak about it. So again, I go back that calmness is very important, and it has to be modeled, and it has to be modeled in front of the child also. Then only you will get your child, following this kind of a practice. Third, ma'am, another very important thing is that, as I said, like, this calming down technique, which I said about this jar, but at the same time, heartfulness also has those all techniques. Like you have those music, which the children have to listen to it, making sure that, the child starts counting 1 to 10 if you are disturbed, if you are feeling like, talk to about your feelings to others. So we always encourage in the life skills, like do some exercise is a very important thing. Make your child play a lot, at least for initial years, later on also. And aggression will be there, but how to reduce that aggression is something which is very, very important. Do you all remember the Federer, this badminton player, right? So how angry he gets, and how kind of a, he throws the racket and all those things. So sometimes the people have that kind of an aggression which is not acceptable. So we have to control that in the childhood itself. And last but not the least, promote self reflection. So this is something, if the child has got angry and done very much tantrums, and you have seen that and you were calm and composed, later on when you're making the child sleep, talk to the child, was it acceptable behavior? Okay, Surbhi ma'am, ये आपने सही किया है या नहीं, ये थोड़ा सा बात करना जरूरी है, at least when the children are in 3rd standard, 4th standard. The reason is that we don't express, we don't talk about it, the children will not understand, and they take it for granted that kuch bhi karo accept hota hai. So it has to be spoken, and any one of you can decide, like, father or mother. So one has to play a very important role, and love can change the children, ma'am. Only the love, because the way we speak, the way we handle the children is very, very important. So, and one more thing is there, ma'am, like, many of, eating habits, like as I said, too much of a consumption of a non-vegetarian food sometimes, regulates certain kind of a things into to the child. So I'm not against of, a vegetarian or non-vegetarian food, but then you have to see that how much you are giving it to the child, what kind of a spicy food we are giving it to the child. So because these all things, are related to your mechanism inside the body. Do you agree, Surbhi ma'am?
Very right.
तो ये बहुत माहिर रखता है कि हम बच्चों को क्या खाने दे रहे हैं, कितना स्पाइसी दे रहे हैं, कितना स्वीट दे रहे हैं. ये all has to be, has to be regulated, or has to be given a deep thought as such.
खाने में, फूड में क्या दे रहे हैं, जो फिजिकल इनपुट है, मेंटल इनपुट क्या दे रहे हैं, टीवी पे क्या दिखा रहे हैं. सो ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ इनपुट, व्हाटएवर इज चाइल्ड टेकिंग इनसाइड, माइंड में क्या अंदर ले रहा है, बॉडी में क्या अंदर ले रहा है, एवरीथिंग मैटर्स.
Like as you rightly said, ma'am, like, these children play nowadays those, games, correct? And they have this all, like there are certain games which are very destructive ones. So you need to understand what your child is playing. Minecraft is a very good game, or there are many other, games which are good. Sudoku is there, very good. So what kind of a games the child is playing, because that way the aggression keeps building and it comes into the action. So as I said, anger is a feeling, and aggression is a
Action
action.
of action.
We need to regulate it. We need to ensure. And if you follow these tips which we stated right now, you see the wonders happening. You see I had seen, like, many children in my boarding school also. The child is to be very, very angry. That's why the parents had admitted him into the boarding. And over the period, meditation was taught to the child. The Heartfulness has, Surbhi ma'am, your that workbook is there where the child had to write the expressions, the daily routine, all those things. And it had really worked because, it develops that introspecting habit. And if you introduce this at a right age, like, 6, 7 age group children, if that is introduced to the children, you see the wonders happening. Like now, I know one of my student who used to be very angry in the sense he used to throw so much of a tantrum. He never had any single friend, but he was knowing that I used to talk to him very, very calmly. So whenever he used to get angry, he used to run to my office. Okay. And then I used to make him sit, I used to make him calm down, because that was the system which we had developed. And I used to give him a listening ear. Okay, that was something which you also pointed it out. Like listening ear is something which makes you understand what is running in the child's mind. So that is very, very important. And these are all things, Surbhi ma'am. So I wanted Surbhi ma'am, basically our Master Shankar, who has, thoroughly practicing heartfulness, right? All the practices and how he regulates his anger, because anger is something which we said a natural feeling. Okay, it's a by default it is going to be there, and we are not saying that you cannot have an anger. It is not a myth. It is not a sin, isn't it, ma'am? So we have to understand that how we can help the children to do that. So we will be inviting Master Shankar to express, and let him speak about it. What does he feels about it? How it has helped him? Because when the children are dealing with the classroom children, it is bound to get anger will be there, because somebody takes their sharpener, somebody takes their pencil, somebody pushes them. So many things are. So let us listen to Shankar. Is he ready to speak, ma'am? Is he ready?
Yes. So Shankar is here, and heartfulness and brighter minds are practical techniques. They give our children, adults, youth, teens practical techniques. So one thing is like we are just discussing, talking, but no. Heartfulness is very scientific and practical, experiential. We give you technique, you experience, and things will be automatically done. Anger management is done automatically if you follow few simple practices. Like that, in Brighter Minds, we have a set of exercises, set of centering techniques, relaxation techniques. Through that, children automatically get that anger management, concentration is boosted. So all these things are improved in children. So I would not take much of your time. I would request Shankar. Shankar, can you please put your video on, and please share your experience with Brighter Minds, Shankar.
They're very much over here, ma'am.
When I was young, I used to get very angry. Like I have a very my mother will remember the story. Like once my mother decided to cut my nails, and then I got angry.
Okay.
I was like, "Mere nails lagao." I gave my mother Fevicol, put back my nails.
Okay.
For 1 hour. Use this Fevicol and put back my nails. Then I used to get very angry at my friends. One time someone came in my toy room, broke one of my toys. I got angry. You're going to come to my place and just break a toy? I got very angry. You're not coming again. Kabhi wapas nahi aa rahe tum yahan. But then I did Brighter Minds and realized this is not the right way. So I called that person back later after some I don't know, after doing Brighter Minds. So आ जाओ ठीक है, पर अगली बार से तोड़ना नहीं है, ठीक है? हो जाता है हम सबसे गलती. And I stopped. And after some time I stopped being angry. And yes, and that's how Brighter Minds helped me a lot. बहुत मदद किया है मुझे. तो thanks.
Very good, Shankar. I can imagine your, example. Like nail cutting is something which the children don't like it, correct? And after cutting the nails, like making that sure that again it is there back. Similar way, I remember one of my close relative, the papad was given it to the child, and the papad in the plate, they broke it and give it, and he said, now I want the papad to be joined again. So which is very very, nobody can imagine what will trigger the child, what is running in the child's mind. So in that case, now what you will do, tell me, Surbhi ma'am, if somebody says like that way, will you bring another papad for the child, or will you tell him no no beta ऐसे ही खाना है? What will be your answer, ma'am?
उसको समझाएंगे कि I mean ultimately you are going to break it and eat, no?
Correct. So if you give another papad to him, so the child is going to learn that, whatever you do it or whatever tantrums you show it, there is going to be something which is going to come new as such. So you never know. It is not in our hand what the child will react, their frustration. And as I said, children do not understand what when they get angry. It's not something, some of the children, they say that, kapha pravrutti. I mean to say they have that kind of each body is different. So sometimes, you have that kind of systems in the body. Because of that, your anger triggers off. But then, breathing will definitely help you. That is number one. And as I said, the love and affection, okay, the positive talk with the child is going to really going to bring a wonders. So you need to develop that patience, you need to develop that calmness, and if you don't have, practice relaxation technique, meditation technique, which is there available on the YouTube also, Surbhi ma'am, isn't it? These are all free practices, but then somebody has to take an effort to do this, because that will bring a change in yourself. Like mindful techniques are also there, so heartful techniques are there. So we have to follow this, and you will see the wonders happening, because we are creating a citizens for tomorrow, ma'am. And if you do not pay attention at this kind of a behavior right in the childhood, you are creating a child who is going to suffer by himself or herself, and is going to have an adverse effect in the society also. Correct? So it is a moral responsibility, as a parent, how you have to use your words. It has to be very very pleasing, it has to be very calm and composed. That is what I recommend to all the parents, and it is very easy to learn this kind of a techniques. It's not that difficult, ma'am.
So yeah, that's very crucial point that you shared, ma'am. So what I am doing, I am sharing a WhatsApp group link, and we have created a WhatsApp group. Maybe I will share few techniques over there. You can join this group and stay connected, because Heartfulness, as I said, has practical technique, experiential, खुद से अनुभव करके आप देखो. I mean, आपको खुद पता नहीं चलेगा कि कब आपका anger manage हो जाता है ना. बहुत easy, it's very easy, and these are practical, easy techniques, but very effective. I have been practicing Heartfulness for last 30 years, and if someone is dedicating time for last 30 years, that means that organization, that thing has already given that person value. Otherwise, why would you continue for 30 years? So this Heartfulness organization has given me immense value. So I am sharing few links. One is WhatsApp group link. Other is YouTube video link. So in YouTube video, our YouTube channel, we keep on sharing few techniques almost every day. Sometimes our shorts, sometimes we are sharing some reels, sometimes some long format video. This webinar will also be available on this Monday. So suppose you have missed initial part of it, or you want to share with your people, especially your spouse, so you can share this video, right? Because it's important to calm your spouse down. And that LinkedIn link also I am sharing. Please follow this LinkedIn. That helps us to share these things with more people. Through you, it should go to people, because we work on pay forward mode. We are doing these things for you because we felt nice, so we are doing it for you. Good things need to be given to people. Otherwise, what happens? Bad things spread a lot. A child jumped from 10th floor because of that video game will spread everywhere. But how to deal with that emotion, how to address, that concern in your child needs to go to everyone, isn't it? So that's why I request you to please join this. You can subscribe our YouTube channel. You can follow this link to join WhatsApp group, and I will share few Heartfulness techniques over there. For your child, you can of course try Brighter Minds techniques, and Brighter Minds program helps children a lot in automatic ways. We just do few practical techniques with children and that thing comes automatically. Anger management becomes automatic, emotional concerns dealing becomes automatic, their concentration is boosted, they become wiser in decisions, so those things are automatically done through this Heartfulness technique. And please follow this LinkedIn. Rama ma'am, do you think that we should open the floor now? If people have some questions, they can ask.
Yeah, we should open the forum for asking questions. Already few of them have written, I believe so.
So someone has asked if left nostril breathing is similar to Anulom Vilom. No. So Anulom Vilom is like when you close one nostril and then breathe in deeply and then breathe out through your second nostril. So that is Anulom Vilom. Left nostril breathing, you have to close your right nostril, breathe in through your left nostril and breathe out also through your left nostril only. So that is the technique. You can type Heartfulness left nostril breathing technique. It will come in YouTube.
Okay. It is very scientifically explained over there. So, you will be able to understand how it regulates also.
Yes. And the second question is by Luca John. What is the genetics anger? How should achieve manage to calm? Luca, can you please?
A child manage to calm. That is what. So, what is a genetic anger and how should a child manage to calm? Okay. Can I answer this?
Yes, please, ma'am.
Yeah, you can add on. So basically, when I say genetic, it is like, some of the families always has that, as I said, like, approach and attitude. When I say attitude, they all the time are fighter cocks. I mean to say, sorry to use this word, but it is like that. Even when while dealing with their, own driver kakas or, support staff, they will ill treat them. They will, because in their mouth, they have that kind of a words which are very, very humiliating. So such kind of a parents I see, and naturally genetically the child is picking up that, because the parent also has followed that ancestor time, the same thing kind of this thing. So people have this as an anger also, and because of that they don't understand that why did they say this. Sometimes later on they must be introspecting also, I should have not said it, but then once you say it, then the train is gone. So we have to be very, very mindful, we have to be very, very particular. This is something which I would like to say. So genetic anger is something which some people are, in their families are very, very angry. They by default they have a lesser of calmness.
Sometimes we become out of control. We are not having any control on our anger. That is where Heartfulness helps. That is where Heartfulness helps for adults and Brighter Minds helps for children, so that they are able to do few practical techniques, easy techniques, and then things are automatically addressed for you. That's why we are highly recommending Heartfulness techniques for adults. Priyanka ji has one question. Priyanka ji, you can unmute yourself and ask. My daughter is 8 years, I guess. She's writing. If I do changes in my behavior, can she also settle down? I get angry quickly, so she is.
Yes. Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you, Priyanka. You said that that what is the reason, right? So you need to follow these practices which we are saying, and it is free of cost. You don't have to. It will take hardly 20 minutes a day. 20 minutes of time you have to invest in it. 20 or 40, whatever it is suitable to you. But if you start doing it, there will be a change in yourself. So you have to, I always believe, human can do wonders. Once you decide it, the things can happen. But only thing is that you have to decide it, right? You have to decide it, thoroughly practice it. And then commitment has to be there. Consistency has to be there. You will see the wonders happening.
Yeah. And half of the problem is already addressed because you already know that it is because you get angry, your child is getting angry. So now the thing remaining is, please practice few Heartfulness techniques, give your child Brighter Minds and work together.
Yeah. And ma'am, as we know that brighter mind starts from age 5, correct? Brighter mind starts from age 5. But then the parents, if they follow heartfulness right from the childhood of a child, then naturally that kind of an environment, calmness will percolate in the family, which is going to be $1 million worth asset for them. This is very, very important to remember. So aggression doesn't help you in life. No doubt, aggression has to be there when you want to achieve something, when you want to work on that. But then that is a different kind of a urge to do it, not in kind of an expression of an aggression, right? So there are various types of anger. There are various things. But then ma'am, we have confined it because we know the parents' age group. Where they want to know this basic techniques, right? We can go much more deeper into this topic, but right now this much is enough to begin with, right? Yeah.
Even in that papad example, ma'am, suppose child is very angry, not listening to you at all. In that case, you have to give papad at that time, and when child calms down, then make child understand. So it depends on criticality. But this criticality will be lessened if they practice some technique. These practical techniques. Parents, heartfulness, child, brighter minds.
So you never know why that anger will trigger in the child. And I had seen many families communicating me, pata nahi, every time he is very good, but sometimes he behaves like, vagabond. Okay, they say that. But then poor child doesn't. First reason is that the child's stomach must be empty. So we really have to ensure that how much you're feeding your child, how much he's eating. So that is something which we have to really look into it.
One more question from Geeta ji. How to change the habit of telling lies, especially to hide the things they are doing? So they hide it. How to do that?
Yeah, this can be one of the topic, isn't it, ma'am?
Yeah, that's a big spectrum.
Yeah, because this is again, kind of a feeling. Again, kind of a over the period, the children, why do they hide? Okay, or why they behave in that manner? There are reasons because we as a parent show our expressions that this is not acceptable. Okay, this is not something which I don't want you to do it. And if the child has done it, then the child wants to hide it because he knows that a mother and a father is going to get angry on it. So having a friendly relation, because in today's world, ma'am, the child has to learn what is good and what is bad. And until and unless we don't experience it, the child, we cannot say do's and don'ts. Nobody can teach that, right? So it is kind of a regular habit, but your calm and composed nature and your not having that fear factor of a parent is very, very important. If the child is lying, why the child is lying? Because you are shouting, because you are not kind of sharing certain things. There is no free talk with the child, so that time generally this happens.
Thank you, ma'am. So next question is by Chinmay. Chinmay is 14 years old. If someone is doing any work but with incorrect way, then how I deal with this? I am 14 years old.
Yeah, very, very true, because 14 years old, your colleagues or your the classmates sometimes behave in a very atrocious manner, and in that case your friendship matters a lot. I always look at it, some of the angry children, we give a buddy. Okay, buddy is somebody who is calm and composed. Some of the children have a very bad habit, immediately their hand raises, they raise their hand to hit somebody. So if you have a buddy, you can stop that, he controls them. So Chinmay, if you have a friend who is doing wrong things, you need to talk, or you need to take a support of some adult, because you never know, when you speak to him, he may not or she may not accept it, right? So you need to take a support of your teacher or a counselor to talk. If you, because it is again a perception, according to you it is wrong, okay, but according to that child it may not be wrong. So we have to really understand what is wrong. Is that clear? Yeah, isn't it, Survi ma'am? Do you agree with me?
Yeah, that's absolutely right, ma'am. So please seek some help from some adult.
Because
Thank
if
you, ma'am.
the child will not accept it, because that is the mode of a child to do it, to behave it. Sometimes the children get the money, sometimes they hide the mobile. So many things keeps happening in the schools. The children are, after all, are children, and they will do all these things. Okay, So we have to be very, very patient. We have to be very, mindful to handle them, and we have to calm down and question them, and they have to be understood what is not acceptable.
Yeah. So because our time is up, so maybe we are available. We can take one or two more questions. But if you want to leave, you can leave because time is up. Please don't forget to join that WhatsApp group, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow the LinkedIn. You can even post your questions in the group, in WhatsApp group that you will be joining. Everyone can share things there. Everyone can ask questions there. So please feel free to ask your questions later as well, whenever you get some question or if your question is not answered over here. With that, we are going to take last question, Rama ma'am. Priyanka ji is saying, my 2.5-year-old raises hands when angry or bites even. What to do?
Ma'am, this is very, very common because the children keep imitating, imitating everybody, right? They imitate in the classroom somebody they have seen, and then raises hand and all that. So if the child is raising a hand and shouting, yelling, that time you need to divert the attention. That is number one. As I said, anger cannot be dealt with anger, and the child at that moment does not understand that feelings. So that is something you need to divert the attention. You need to be very calm and composed. Okay, you sit quietly. The child will start, as I said, it is like a summer storm, right? And then it subsides. It cools down to the child. But if you overreact, then it is going to be too much of I mean to say, it can really turn into very dirty kind of a conversation between you and a child. So it has to be very, very because you are instigating the child by showing your anger. So if the child, we understand that raising a hand and hitting somebody is not a good habit, but then you have to work on that. So if the child is doing, later on the child has to be spoken about it. When the child is quiet, calm and composed, you have to speak to the child and tell him that what is right, which is not acceptable. So it is very important how you explain it to the child.
And one more thing that you mentioned in the middle of our program today, diverting attention, ma'am. Even diverting attention in this age group works. Just divert them with something else.
Children at this age, ma'am, younger ones, immediately you can divert their attention. You know that they like certain things, so you can talk about it. You can show them certain other things. So it is up to us how we how we handle the child.
Thank you so much, Rama ma'am, and thank you to everyone for joining today.